So here's an interesting idea. If we're not supposed to pronounce the divine name, and Yeshua is divine, should we pronounce his name? So first of all, why doesn't Judaism pronounce God's name? So basically, the prohibition against saying God's name was set in place to prevent people from profaning the name. Now this is actually a very divisive issue in Messianic Judaism, and some people make up this group called the Sacred Namers that go out of their way to pronounce the name of God quite often. In fact, it's not unusual to see them walking around with the name on their shirts, where it collects dirt and sweat and will eventually be thrown in the laundry hamper with a bunch of other greasy shirts full of body oils and odor and gross stuff. That's showing a lot of disrespect for the name. Now, names obviously have great importance. If you were meeting Obama face to face, you wouldn't call him Barack. You'd call him Mr. President. But just outright calling him Barack is a bit disrespectful. So a lot of people in the sacred name movement say that using the name of God a lot is a sign of closeness. But yet if these same people insist on the children not calling them by their first names, or especially not like their children calling their teachers by their first names, then they're asking for more respect to themselves than to God. Did that point come out clearly? Now, mainstream Judaism just kind of sidestepped all this by saying, okay, we're just not gonna pronounce the name. That solved a lot of issues. Oh, and here's a quick little thought to the sacred namers. Yeshua himself, the one person that absolutely, without a doubt, could obviously say God's name, refused. If you look all throughout the Gospels, Yeshua never says God's name. Instead, he uses the standard replacement words that were in use at that time, like heaven, for example. Now, granted, there's more to this, like, you know, the whole oath issue, but I'm not gonna get into that. So back to the question, should we pronounce Yeshua, since it is the name of a divine person? My personal answer, yes. It's fine. Why? Because we see all throughout the apostolic scriptures that the disciples themselves used it. And if they were fine with it, and they were the ones closest to him, then we should be fine with it. Now granted, some thoughts do come to my mind with this. Like reason number one, Moshe and David and a lot of people in the Torah and just the whole Tanakh called God by the name, but that doesn't mean that we're supposed to. Number two, quite often people address Yeshua as rabbi or master. But at least in this point in Messianic Judaism, the collective understanding is that it's fine to pronounce Yeshua's name, and at this point, that's what I'm going to do. That was not a very satisfactory answer. You know what? Honestly, I don't have a solid answer for you. I'm kind of just asking it to get you thinking, because this may be an issue in the future in Messianic Judaism. It may not, I don't know, but it's a very interesting idea to think about. And that's kind of what this channel is about, to get you thinking, so. Personally, I think that this is a very eggshell-lent question to ponder. I crack myself up. You know, I can make a pun, but it'd be too corny. I'm sorry. I usually produce better ones. I guess you don't care at all for these. Ah! Oh, that tasted like dirt. Because we see all throughout the, whoa, that's a big fuzzy right by the camera.